Hello guys, how are you getting on? My name is Aaron Kelly. Welcome back to another episode of the Premier League Verdict. Now, before I kick things off, today I will not be talking about the Champions League at all. Now I know it was a massive night for Liverpool last night and huge congratulations to them, but I'm going to wait until Tottenham and Ajax play out their game tonight, and then hopefully at the weekend myself and Jack will do a podcast on it. Speaking of which, myself and Jack now have a dedicated podcast channel. It's called the Shite Talk Podcast, original. By clicking the first link in the description, it'll take you straight to the podcast channel where you can subscribe and keep up to date with all the different clips and all the different bits I'll be putting up on that channel. And maybe if we start getting enough subscribers on there, I will start putting the full podcast onto that channel. Obviously the first podcast is up on this channel. If you haven't seen it, I'll leave it on my little information card up there. So yeah, click the first link in the description and subscribe to the new podcast channel. Cheers, thank you very much. Right, so let's start talking about the football then. And the Premier League had a pretty significant weekend, didn't it? A lot happened, a lot has been decided at this point. The first thing we're going to talk about is Cardiff City are gone. They are relegated. They lost 3-2 to Crystal Palace. And Neil Warnock before the game did this. I mean, there's not an awful lot of words I can use to kind of describe this. To be honest, this is kind of what I see in the corner of my room when I have sleep paralysis. Cheers, someone's crying. No, Cardiff gone. To be fair to them, they put up a great fight. To be honest with the players they were given and the finances they had at the start of the season, they've probably outdone themselves, to be fair, Cardiff. Crystal Palace got the win, which means Brighton are safe, and they knew that going into their game against Arsenal on Sunday. But before we get on to that, we're going to talk about Tottenham. Oh, boys, Tottenham. What's going on? United are in the Champions League semi-final and in with a chance of making probably our first ever Champions League final. But fuck me, lads. They lost 1-0 to Brighton thanks to Nathan Ake's goal, but that wasn't the only bit of action that happened in this game. Oh no, it wasn't. Tottenham had two players sent off, Juan Foyt and Heung-min Son, of all people, was also sent off for Tottenham. And Bournemouth won the game 1-0, which opened the door for Chelsea to wrap up their place in the Premier League's top four. But we'll get on to them in a minute. We're going to move now to the title race briefly. From the game on Friday, Liverpool beat Newcastle by 3-2. Divock Origi, the man there again to head home the winner in the dying minutes of the game to get Liverpool a massive 3 points. And to be honest, at this stage for Liverpool, it's like playing well isn't even that big a deal anymore. It's like it's more so just getting results. And obviously now going into the final day of the season, they're not favourites. They're far from it to win the Premier League title, but they've given themselves, they're keeping themselves, well within reach of the title race. And Divock Origi, I mean, he was the hero last night as well. I mean, one of many heroes for Liverpool last night. As I said, I'm not going to go into the Barcelona game on this video, but Divock Origi got the goal that won it for Liverpool. Debatable free kick that led to it, a very debatable. Fabinho goes down under a challenge from Matt Ritchie, but referee gave it for some reason, but Liverpool will not give a shit about that. One downside to them was that Mo Salah picked up a bad head injury which kept him out of last night's game against Barcelona, but as we know, that didn't prove to be. I'm not going into it. Wait till the podcast. We're going to go back to the top four race then, and Man United and Chelsea then had their chance to assert themselves on Sunday. Man United were away to Huddersfield, Chelsea were at home to Watford. Later on in that day as well, Arsenal were to play Brighton, so it was a big day, possibly D-Day as far as the the title, or not the title race, but the top four is concerned. A lot of results meaning big things on that particular day. But Manchester United kicked things off against Huddersfield with the best possible way. Scott McTominay gave them the lead. In Chelsea's first half, they really did struggle against Watford, to be honest. And it was 0-0 at half time there. Watford had plenty of great chances. Aritza Balaga made a great save, but it nearly seemed like the wind and the tide had turned in the second half. Chelsea turned it on, whereas Man United just completely switched off. And Benza was the man who got the goal for Huddersfield to give them the equaliser against Manchester United. Then Chelsea took off at the start of the second half. Ruben Loftus-Cheek got on the end of an Eden Hazard cross, And once again it was an Eden Hazard cross, this time from a corner, which David Luiz powered in from close range to give Chelsea a 2-goal lead in as many minutes. This all happening while Huddersfield were just after equalising against Man U, and it was a Gonzalo Higuain chip which rounded off an important win for Chelsea, and as things turned out later on in the day, the one that secured Chelsea top 4. I mean, we'll get onto it in a minute, but Man United, awful, genuinely awful. You have to feel for some of their fans, because that performance, that just calibre performance, is not acceptable. It just isn't. And they can paint around it any way they like. Ashley Young saying he can't fault the attitude and the amount of effort they put in today, but come on now, lads. If we're being real with ourselves here, we're shit again. And you know, Alexis Sanchez started awful. I can see him being gone in the summer. He got injured against Huddersfield, so there's a good chance he's probably played his last game for Manchester United. But all the players have, you know, taken a pay cut of 25% or something like that after that game. So unfortunately, poor Alexis Sanchez will only get paid £375,000 a week instead of whatever fucking catastrophic, you know, fucking wages he was being given before. I think there's a handful of Man United players that do care, but majority just don't. And Gary Neville said it on Monday night that probably a deep cleansing of this Man United dressing room and just throughout the whole club needs to be done. I think they've given Solskjaer the job very prematurely. I don't think he's up to it. I really don't. I think, you know, he could easily prove me wrong. I've been proved wrong plenty of times in the past, we all know. But I just don't think Solskjaer is up to it. You look at his managerial CV, he managed fucking Molde. He got relegated with Cardiff. Apart from that, he's done nothing. Realistically, he's done absolutely nothing. So, I think Man United may regret giving him that 3-year contract, but the United fans are looking for a bit of stability now. But if it's this same pool of players that's playing for Solskjaer next season, he's going to need backing in the transfer market. Unless he brings in some incredible players and flushes out some of the deadwood, I really can't see United's season next year being much different to the way it was this year. And a lot of people kind of criticised me at the start of the season about my Premier League predictions, which I will be reacting to at the end of the season. But about United finishing 6th, to be honest, it looks like I'm spot on. You know, United finished 2nd last season, and Jose Mourinho said finishing 2nd with that United team was one of the best achievements he's ever had. And people thought he was joking, but realistically, you look at it now, they're 6th. They're actually 6th, and they're going to finish 6th, really. So Chelsea, we're 3rd. We capitalised upon Tottenham's mistake, slip up if you will, against Bournemouth to beat Watford by 3-0. As I mentioned, Higuain, Loftus-Cheek and David Luiz with the goals. After a poor first half display, Chelsea came alive in that second half. And now with top 4 secured, now we can look over and try and win the Europa League. If we do that, it'll go down as a very good season. I've had many breakdowns this season. It's not been easy being a Chelsea supporter this season at times. You think back to the, you know, FA Cup defeat against Man United, the defeat to Everton, the 6-0 to Man City being a particular low point for me personally. But it looks like the lads might just pull through in the end, and I don't know how we've done it. I think everyone else around us has just been that little bit shitter than we are, which is just incredible, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's good to see that we finally capitalised on another team fucking up. We capitalised on Tottenham's mistake. My only fear now is that it does look as though Eden Hazard has played his last game at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea. It's a sad day. It is a sad day, to be fair. But look, we can look forward to next season now. We've got, you know, hopefully a few decent loan players coming back. Obviously the transfer ban doesn't look like it's going to be overturned, so hopefully this gives Sarri a chance now to bring in some of the fresh new players, like the likes of Mason Mount and Tomori, who've both had fabulous seasons with Frank Lampard and Derby County. You know, just different young players like that. Hopefully Hudson-Odoi will be back for a bit of next season. Obviously ruptured his Achilles against Burnley 2 weeks ago, so yeah, obviously with Christian Pulisic coming in the summer already, so I don't know, they may give Higuain a new contract, they may give Kovacic a new contract. I don't know if they're allowed to do that, they're both on loan of course, so it's hard to know. But yeah, I wouldn't say exciting times ahead, but it's just good that we're back at Europe's top table again. The reason we are is because Arsenal only drew 1-0 with Brighton. It was really bad from Arsenal, to be fair. A debatable penalty gave them the lead. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang slotted it away, scored his 20th Premier League goal of the season. Brighton then got a penalty of their own. Granit Xhaka took down Solly March. It was just a stupid tackle, really. And Glenn Murray was there to dispatch the penalty. 1-1 is how it finished. Brighton already knew going into that game that they're safe, so you know they could play with a little bit of freedom, and they did so. It was also Arsenal's chance to say goodbye to Petr Cech, who is retiring at the end of the season. Obviously a Chelsea and Premier League legend, and of course Aaron Ramsey, who has signed for Juventus and will be playing for them next season. I mean, I'd say Arsenal fans are fucking livid with the whole Ramsey situation. The fact that he won't be playing for them next season. An incredible player, incredible professional, with Arsenal for 11 years, and you could tell he was pretty broken up by the fact that he was leaving. I mean, it could be that, it could be the fact that he's leaving his boyhood club, or the fact that, you know, tears of sheer joy that he'll never have to play with the likes of Granit Xhaka and Shkodran Mustafi ever again. I mean, it's one or the other, lads, it's one or the other. So moving on to Man City then, the final game we're going to be talking about today, and it is their win over Leicester. They knew going into this that they needed a win. Leicester, no easy side to face. That's why I was happy Chelsea wrapped up top 4 before our game against Leicester next week, because they're a really good young side that Brendan Rodgers has there. So it was never going to be an easy game for City, but they knew going into it they had to win. They had to get the 3 points, because as soon as they do, Liverpool, you know, are going to be right there. And obviously because of Liverpool's win, it's going to go down to the final day of the season to decide who wins the title. But City won thanks to an incredible 1 in a million strike from Vincent Kompany. One for the goal recreation series for sure. But fuck me, what a goal. And one that won City the game, a vital 3 points, which means going into the last day, it's so tight still. Man City are on, I think, 95 points, Liverpool are on 94. And if Liverpool do finish the season second with 97 points, I mean, they'll be absolutely gutted. But it'll be interesting. Man City are away to Brighton and Liverpool are at home to Wolves. Not an easy game, but it should be an interesting one nonetheless. That'll be the last kind of wrap up of the games of this series of this particular season. So yeah, that is where I'm going to wrap it up today, lads. Who do you think is going to win the Premier League? Will it be Man City? Will it be Liverpool? I'll leave a little poll up in the corner as well for you to take. Tell me who you think is going to win the league, Liverpool or Manchester City. It's going to be such an exciting final day. I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like and subscribe if you're new with notifications on. And I will catch you later.
Pull up in the gold, I'm leading. But them other man need feeding. I don't wanna go Bombay. Them I don't know what I do when I go from Beeling. Leading the pack in black and I'm on with the bag. Snapping with the phone and die. Boss up a man with the duster. Put him in the drip and sit blockbuster. Win, that's the only MO. Ring, I reply with NO. Call me Leno, had it hot. Switch up the ting as I hit.